Hi everybody, and welcome to this first week's video on English for academic and professional purposes. This is teacher Vladimir Alvarez, and in today's week video we're going to talk about something important about listening. Let's start. So here in this video we're going to talk about the listening aspects to have in mind when listening, when learning listening. What happened in this part? So what do we need to know about this? Okay, I am going to talk briefly about certain aspects that you have to keep in mind and some advices and recommendations for you to improve your listening skills. So let's start. First, we need to know how languages are learned. So how a human being, an individual, learn a language. Well, all languages are learned the same way. And the first thing that we learn from a language is the listening. Okay? And this is the purpose of this level. We're going to focus on a lot of listening for you to discover and can recognize the different aspects of pronunciation as well. Well, the first thing in a language is learn listening. When babies, when we are born, when we start learning a language, the first thing we start when learning a language is listening. Our parents and peoples around here talked a lot about or tell us things and repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat. So they repeat so much that we start like getting that sound and keep it in our minds, and then with the pass of time we start babbling and we start producing sounds until we get to a level where we can manage language. Then the second skill to learning a language is speaking. This is what I was talking about. Okay, you listen so much that you start producing and repeating those sounds. That would be the speaking part. And then we're going to move into the more concrete parts of language, because these two first skills, listening and speaking, are the abstract part of language. Okay, so sometimes we don't know how much a person or how much we learn, but when we move into reading or we move to writing, there is where you can notice how much a person knows about a language, or how much that person learned, and how proficient could be. Like, for example, in reading or writing, considering this fact that every single time an individual or a person moves into a new skill, the complexity of this skill increases a lot. So, what I want to talk about in this listening part is like three main problems. Well, this is what I wanted to start talking about, the abstract part of language. So when we learn listening, when we start learning listening, we need to get a lot of input. So we need to get a lot of input. We listen. These messages or that information, and me is only like the person is only getting that information, analyzing through thoughts, and after that person analyzes and communicates, gives opinions, is the moment that that person speaks. Okay, that's the way we produce language. At the beginning, the input is high in comparison with the output, meaning that the output is that the result, or what we get or what we produce after a long process of something. Well, in the listening part, it's like that the input has to be more than the output in order to produce meaning. So, what happened with this next part? What are the reasons why it is difficult to understand English? Well, I am going to summarize these based on the videos that are posted in the first week of this module. So this is the first one. Spanish speakers, when learning English, have this problem. Sometimes they cannot recognize how to pronounce some words, because words are pronounced differently from the written form. Since Spanish has only 5 vowel sounds and they are very fixed, you know them, and there is no changes in sounds. Well, remember in English, as I already explained in the module before, vowel sounds in English is the one of the causes that Spanish speakers struggle a lot when pronunciation and when speaking. Well, the aspects of this part is that, well, in English there are many words that are pronounced that are silent letters. Examples of these is like thought. In that case, as you can see, the bold part, you don't produce those sounds. The U sound is not, that doesn't appear. Island, in that part, the S is mute. You cannot produce those sounds. And muscle, in which C and E are mute sounds. Well, Spanish speakers when learning English struggle with this. Of course, it takes time for Spanish speakers to realize these sounds are not produced. And well, it takes some time to have them or to put them in our thoughts or in our mind. So, the other things, as I said before, is the vowel sounds. Well, because letters can be pronounced in different ways, especially with vowel sounds. Yeah, especially with vowel sounds. For example, I have these words, like for example, this double O. In some words is pronounced like, for example, door. But in other words, it's like food. So Spanish speakers sometimes they cannot understand, but why this double O sounds like O here and U there? Well, as I said, this is something that you must know from the very beginning. And the other two, second example is like apple or game. In that case, A and A they are pronounced in different way. So I just put a web page link for you to go and practice some more a bit about that. What about the second problem or the second difficulty the Spanish speakers have? Well, native speakers linked words together. English learners tend to pronounce every word they say. That is something that it's hard for us to understand or to get. For example, there are different phenomena in pronunciation. I am going to go briefly on these phenomena in pronunciation. For example, there are some blending sounds that in next synchronous class I am going to talk about and we're going to practice on, okay? So the blending sounds. What about the blending sounds? Well, the blending sounds is like when there are consonant sounds together. For example, in this case we have this month. When you pronounce it quickly, sometimes it sounds like this month, this month. So there is a mix or there's a merge. Merge is like a connection. It's like a union of these sounds to consonant sounds. And there is another ones like, for example, this afternoon. It sounds like this afternoon, this afternoon, this. So you can see there is another, and when you write it in phonetically, those two words become just one. So, what is the other one is co-articulation. It's overlapping sound. Overlapping sound is that one sound covers the other sound. Like, for example, good news, good news, good news. Good news, when you listen, the D sound at the end of good is not pronounced. The sounds that sound, the sound that follows is the N. That is the one that sounds good news, good news, good news, good news. And it's another one, like for example, bad luck turns into bad luck, bad luck, bad luck. In that case, the B sound disappears because the next word or the next consonant and the following word overlaps or covers that last sound. There's another one that is called assimilation. This assimilation is the changing of sounds. What happens with this? In these parts we have, like for example, don't you, don't you. When we say this and connect these two words, it sounds like don't you, don't you. And the same happens in many words, like for example, did you, it becomes like did you, did you, did you. This is something that we need to practice more on so we can recognize the differences when listening to English. Another one is the intrusion or adding sounds. There are sounds that appear just naturally and spontaneously when we connect words, like for example, he asked, and do it. In that case, I just try to put this Y and W sounds that appear. It's like, for example, what are you gonna do? In that case, you change like that D for an R when you say that expression. That's like the adding sounds. What about this one here? Elision. Elision is when you omit sounds. In words, like for example, kept going. That T sound, that kept, is dropped when you say kept going. That's a meeting sound, and that's an elision. Another one is a diamond ring. When you say diamond ring. So the sound at the end of the first word disappears, and that in English happens a lot. And geminates. Geminates is like double sounds. It means that when there are two words and the first word finishes in the same consonant sound or the same vowel sounds, then the next word, like for example in this case, like social life, those double L, the L of the social at the end and L at life at the beginning, just become one L. That's it. Just become one L, like social life. Just you repeat it and you practice, and then you see. And another one is like pet turtle. Is you become like a pet turtle. In orange juice, you listen to orange juice, because that j and y sounds like pretty much the same. Well, so the problem and the aspects when linking sounds. And the third last problem is like too little practice. And when I mean too little practice, is that, well, not many of you have enough listening practice. You do really need to practice listening a lot. As in the previous video of the introduction, I pointed out, I just said, well, the more you listen, the more you learn, and the more familiar with language you become. So, what about this one here? Now the question is, now that we recognize which are like the three different aspects or problems that a language learner has, well, the question is, well, now, how can I improve my listening as an adult? Just because, remember, there is an old saying that, old parrot doesn't learn to speak. But, well, yes, in this case, it's just the same, but people can learn listening and speaking at the same time. So, how can I improve my listening skills on adults? Well, taking like the recommendations and advices, the suggestions in one of the videos in the first week has is, well, as I recall at the beginning that I was going to, based on the videos that or I posted in the first week of this, I'm going to keep recalling what we pretend to do with this in the listening part. Now, in this next part, after listening to these problems and the way languages learn, so it's very good to approach or to go into what are we going to do in order to learn how to deal with listening, learning, or learning listening. So here I am going to recall these steps taken from one of the videos because they're amazing. They're like wow, they're a good example to follow in order to learn how to do the correct and the right ways of listening. We're going to summarize it in 5 steps. What is this first step? Well, the first step is like listen to the audio, no notes, please, when you listen to the audio. I know that this may cause some anxiety from your part at the beginning when you don't know what is going on or what is happening in what they're talking about. Just relax, don't worry, do it. So I know that the beginning is going to be difficult to understand, but because it's new information and it's that is getting into your brain. What is the second step to follow in this part? Well, the second step to follow is like listening to the audio and pick out the 5 W's. When I mean the 5 W's, is like in the listening, you just think of about the who is the one, or who are the ones that are talking in that audio, and when is it taking place, or where is that conversation taking place? I mean, in a place. The other is like what are they talking about, and the reason or why they're talking about or what they're saying, right? So the third step to follow is going to be like listen again and write down the new vocabulary and find their meaning. This is very important and very crucial, because here there are several ways you can learn the vocabulary. I know that every single of us learn differently, but you can get all those words, you can get all those information, and for example, go to word reference or go to any other dictionary, and most of them nowadays and online, they have the pronunciation, no matter it is in British or it is in American English. But you can go, you can press the button, you can listen to the pronunciation. Now you have some knowledge, you can read the phonetic symbols so you can get the pronunciation through them, and the meaning. Very important. Remember, the meaning of English words varies according to the context where the conversation is taking place. The fourth step to follow is like listen and repeat. Listen to this. Listen and repeat what is being said. When I mean listen and repeat, it's like, please do what in English is called shadowing. Shadowing is imitate, but you have to imitate. For example, if one of the listening, a person is talking like, well, in this listening, we're doing this and that. Well, you have to imitate and say the same way, using the same pitch, using the same intonation, using the same register, everything. You have to say, well, yes, in this listening, we're doing this. So this is shadowing, and this shadowing, let me tell you this, it works a lot. It works a lot. This is another topic that we're going to work on the synchronous class on Sunday. And the fifth and last step is like listen again or listen one more time, just to keep in mind and just to make sure that we listen was okay. So these are very simple, quick to follow 5 steps. You must apply it. You must apply it when you listen to materials, because this is very important. I know that at the beginning it may be a bit annoying or boring, but you have to put compromise on this. You have to put compromise on this. So what about this? I just want to leave you here some information. I am going to leave all the web pages and the links below the video, so you can go log on or look for these pages and take them into consideration when practice listening. These are very, very, very good aids for language learners in any case. So there are some pages that are just for audio. In this part you can find the audio, you can find the subtitles or the scripts of the conversation, and what in like several in these you can find also word definitions, and some of them focus on one day. Okay, in this listening you learn this word, and this word is used for this. So this very good aid. Please do not put them aside. Just keep it with you and use it as much as possible. By the way, in the following next 2 weeks, we're going to work on using these platforms or these web links to practice English. Okay, so these are one of them that is a very, very, very common one for learning English, especially the first one, the VOA English, Special English. This is for like American English news. It's very good. I do strongly recommend you a lot. 6 minutes English. This is British English news and lifestyle. You can find like many different things and topics on this page, but with a British accent. I know that many of you, some of you like for example, American. Some of you prefer British. Well, you can use an accent the way you want, as long as you learn English. For me, there's no problem. And there's another one that is called ELO. ELO, this is particular because it has a bit of the ones that I mentioned it before from VOA, from 6 Minutes, but these dialogues and conversations are with many different types of accents. We move to the very Latin American accent, to the very African accent, to the Middle East accent, to the Far East accents, and very different accents. It's very nice, very nice. That's for audio. And for those who are like video lovers, because I know that most of you like video and watch sitcoms, movies, TV series, programs on YouTube or whatever. Well, here are some web pages that I do strongly recommend you, and well, they are free and they have also aids for you to learn. These parts, we have this Aurora TV. It's a good one. It's free. The only thing is you have to access by linking it with your email address, especially if you have Gmail. That would be great. If not, you can open a free account and it's for free. You can find there movies and TV series with English subtitles and with the speed, and well, it's amazing. It's amazing. The other one is TED Talks. Those are presentation of speakers of any topic. Any topic. I don't know if you have had the opportunity to watch videos using these or watching these videos. It's like amazing. They talk about many different things. And the last one is ESL Notes. This is like more for movie lovers. This is more like for movies. And then from movies, what I like from this page is that they point out expressions and idioms, and they explain you, well, they're using this idiom in this expression, but they want to mean this. This is very used for this. So it's amazing. I do strongly recommend you. Of course, it is a bit out of date, but it's still good. Let me tell you that. And well, and this is like the introduction, or I mean the ending for this first video introductory class. And I hope you like it. And there is one thing I want to let you know, and this is to conclude. Desire is the key to motivation, but it's determination and commitment to an unrelenting pursuit of your goal. A commitment to excellence that will enable you to attain the success you seek. Well, this is a very wise quote from Mario Andretti. Mario Andretti was a race car driver. It was an Italian-American race car driver. He drove race cars from the Indy car, and also for I don't remember the other, but anyway, most for Indy cars. He won also world championship in Formula One. He's very well known person. It's very nice. I just took this one because this is what you need in this level. You need commitment and determination. If you want to really start learning English and knowing this, please don't forget to take this in mind, okay? Keep that in mind and you'll see. Bye-bye.